for watching. I'm Prerna Agarwal, Technical Product Owner for the Guardian. Today we'll be giving you Guardian update of Sprint 81 that lasted from December 23rd to January 3rd. So just a quick overview of the agenda. We'll be looking at the roadmap. We'll be also talking about the issues that we tackled in Sprint 81. Then we'll be flipping over and giving you a short demo on Sprint 81. Then we'll be looking ahead of week of Jan 6th, which is Sprint 82. We'll also be talking about the issues that we tackled in Sprint 82. Then we'll be talking about the upcoming releases, and we will also be giving you some of the ways that you can either submit bugs or policy requests through various different channels. Talking about Guardian roadmap, so we are continuing our work on standardizing our UI by replacing Angular material or removing to with Prime MG. And then we are also working on the emission reduction removable ERR calculation pre-calculator. Then we are working on the formula-driven definitions and schema tree enhancements. And lastly, we are also working on the dry run policy execution save points, which is a restarting of the policy dry run from the point where we have saved it. So talking about Sprint 81, so in Sprint 81, we committed to 64 story points, and we delivered 64 story points, which covered 2243, which is Trustchain support for contract-based issuance and retirement implementation. We also covered 3139, which is API facilities to retrieve unique references, IDs of results for API triggered operations. And we also worked on 4322, which is Guardian Analytics, labels, and top-down data viewpoints. Let's look at Sprint 81 demo. The first ticket what we'll be looking at is 2243, which is Trustchain support for contract-based issuance and retirement implementation. So in ticket number 2011, which was the token retirement, we implemented new contract-based token retirement operation. Existing Guardian Trustchain implementation is designed for a different method and does not capture the new process sufficiently well. This would be especially relevant when a token-based issuance is implemented. So in order to give you a guys demo, I have made a short demo presentation for you guys so that I'll just go over that and show you what changes we have made to implement this particular ticket. So here, as you can see that I'm just having a short creation of the tokens, which I'll be creating, and then I'll be doing a retirement and showing you the updated Trustchain. So here I'm just creating a new token with the token amount 2. And then I just click on create. That is my left side token. Then I'll be creating a right side token. So as you can see, once the left side tokens are created, that's been minted and also been transferred. Same with this, we'll be creating the right side tokens with a token amount 2. Whenever I create, it would just take some time for the tokens to be minted and transferred. As you can see here, it's been minted, and you will also get a notification for transferred. So once that is done, you will get the VPs created, 2 for left side tokens and 2 for the right side tokens. And then when you click on view Trustchain, so those two tokens are retired now. So as you can see, you have 2 tokens here, and we'll be retiring it with other 2 tokens. You will be just selecting and then seeing once the token retirement is done, you can see the VC created, and then you can also see the token IDs. And as you can see that you have got a notification as tokens are retired. So once the tokens are retired, you can actually see the Trustchain of that particular policy. So now this is a Trustchain, and when you just scroll to the right, you can actually see this particular section where you can actually see how many tokens are retired, what is the contract ID, what is the token ID, and then every information of how many tokens and the amount of that particular token been retired in the Trustchain. Previously, you were not able to see this particular part, in the Trustchain, you were only able to see the main part, which is the workflow of the policy. So that was a demo for 2243. To get more information, what we have done is we have also updated our documentation. If you go to our docs.hedera.com/guardians-dev-1, as this functionality is still in the develop branch, you can look the documentation in our develop Gitbook. So you would see a detailed documentation underneath tokens, underneath the token retirement contract, you would see a detailed of what I have just gave a demo for. So the next ticket what we'll be looking at is 4322, which is Guardian Analytics Labels and Top-Down Data Waypoints. So Guardian Policy Flows enable project developers, VBs, and other participants to effortlessly follow the current methodology when reporting and validating environmental projects. Although they generate a significant amount of verifiable project data, auditors often require further assessment of these data in the context of various external context information, which may or may not be machine readable and or easily accessible to the public. Furthermore, the assessment procedures may themselves be formalized into complex frameworks combining quantitative and qualitative methods. One example of such is core carbon principle methodology. At present, Guardian does not offer functionality to enable such workflows. So in order to implement this, again, I have made a detailed documentation on this one, and I have made a detailed demo video so that, I can explain you what and how these changes have been implemented. So here, as you can see that, I would be playing and then I'll be just explaining you what is going on over here. So in order to implement this, what we have done is we have added policy labels option in the side menu. And here you have different options to create a new label, or you can also import the label. But I would like to first create a new label by adding the name, and the policy is mandatory, description is optional. So I would just keep that as optional, and then I would just select one of the policy. So once that is done, it would be initially in the draft mode. I would like to actually edit or configure it. And then as you can see, this is similar to our policy configurator, but I would like to import a policy label or a statistics report to add the labels to this particular report. So once that is imported, you would see you can actually configure the hierarchy of how you would like the labels to be at. Like, for example, you can also add the rules underneath the groups, and then you can configure those as you move forward. You can also delete the rules once you add it. And then as you can see, you can also add the monitoring report underneath that, or you can also add that in the subgroup. You can also view the rules of that particular monitoring report if required. But in addition to that, we are also importing a label, just showing that, you can also have a labels underneath a label. So now as you can see, this particular label had so many monitoring report and the reports and the labels. So you can just look at this, and then you can just update as similar to your policy configurator. You can just edit the rules directly from here, which will take you to the same hierarchy what we have implemented for bottom-up data traceability. You can select the schemas relevant to you of what all things you would require to add in your labels and the rules. And then you can configure the rules for these particular schemas selected. This is similar to the bottom-up data traceability. So I would just like to forward this because this is the same process what we have done in the bottom-up data traceability. So once that rule is configured, you can also preview it by adding the account number and by checking if the rules what you have configured works. and what is the outcome. So this is just a preview or testing what you would like to do before you confirm and save the rules and the label. So as you can see, you have just previewed it, and if everything looks good, you can publish it by clicking on publish. So once once the label is published, you can actually create that particular label by selecting the target for that particular label. So now as you can see that you can actually see the data being populated depending on the schemas what you have created or selected, and depending on the rules you have configured for that particular label. So once the label is created, you can publish it. So now as you can see, once the label is created, you can actually see and view that particular label underneath overview, and you can also see the VC document created for that particular label. And you can also see the relationship between all the schemas what you have selected during the configuration. You can also see the VP document created for the label. So once you open, you could see the overview, the document, and the relationship. And in addition to that, once you create the label, you can also view that in the indexer. So now, as you can see, this is all the list of the labels created in the testnet. And then you can also navigate from here. You can view multiple, like you can also see more than like 10 by default. And then if you just open it, you could see the VP of the label. You can see the document. You can see all the target. You can see the view. So when you click on target, you would be actually redirected to that particular verifiable presentation of that particular label through the indexer. And if you click on the token ID, you can just select the token ID. And then if you just go back and go to tokens, search that particular token ID, and you could see what is the token details and the label created. The serial number. And then you can also see the metadata and all the labels created for this particular serial number of the token. So as you can see that you have different options, and then different redirections you can do to see the label data, the token relationship, and the VP documents through the indexer. So to get more details, I actually have added like a detailed documentation in docs.hedera.com/guardian-dev-1. In that, we have added all the APIs related to the policy labels and a detailed documentation of the UI as we have demoed, so that just to make sure that you understand the workflow in and out. And if you have any questions, feel free to please reach out to us so that we can answer your questions on Slack or through an email. So that was a demo on Sprint 81. Looking ahead of week of Jan 6th, so currently we are committing to 26 story points, which will cover 3930, add comments to config file parameters, dry run policy execution save points, and 4213, which is restore, doesn't work at the moment. Talking about the releases, our last release was on Thursday, October 31st, 2024. Our next release will be on Friday, January 31st, 2025. So there are multiple ways to reach out to us. You can reach out to us on GitHub. If you have any policy requests, enhancements, or bugs, please go ahead and submit those bugs with us so that we can get our team on it. Or if you haven't joined our Discord, please join our conversation at hedera.com/Discord, and there you will see the sustainability channel. Or you can directly reach out to us through our email, which is info@envisionblockchain.com, or through our website, which is www.envisionblockchain.com. Thank you. Have a great day.